All right, folks, good evening, WNBA and women's basketball fans, and welcome into a regular scheduled edition of the WNBA 365 Network, your 24/7 365 comprehensive home for everything revolving around the WNBA and the rest of the women's basketball universe. Back with you, folks, with the entire starting lineup back to full strength. We all, though, folks, waiting on Crystal Thomas. She's on her way back home, actually, from doing a few things personally right now, but she will be joining us momentarily. But back with you, folks, here tonight with a four-person lineup tonight, but back for right now, for the time being, back and joined by Tanisha Stewart up in Los Angeles, California, and, of course, our good buddy Marquez Anderson, also back from the Project Spurs Network, and, of course, KT will be joining us momentarily from Los Angeles, and Cal McClure joining you folks here today from Studio 171 in San Diego. Marquez and Shorty, great to have you guys back after pretty a long stint on IR, but glad to have you guys back. How's it going tonight?
I'm good.
Yeah, I'm good too.
Great to hear, guys. And of course, like we said, folks, about Crystal Thomas will be joining us momentarily again. We'll take care of a few things before the show. Will be joining us, though, from LA momentarily. And of course, folks, Facebook, Twitter, and live chat box wide open for you folks. Of course, hit us up on Twitter at WNBA365, at Calimac3, at ShortyMamba24, at Pup1010, or at OMarquez with the hashtag WNBA365. Or you can give us a like on Facebook at facebook.com/WNBA365, or if you're viewing us live right now, hit up the live chat box, and we'll get to your commentary when we have a break in the action. Only, guys, all right, one game today only on the WNBA scoreboard today. It was the Mystics and Wings today from the College Park Center in Arlington, Texas, and Washington, once again, guys, wins another game on the road this evening. Final score of the Mystics over the Wings, 87-79. The final score today from College Park Center for the Mystics, it is Emma Meesman, 23 points on the day for Emma in today's game. Taylor Hill with 14, Bria Hartley with 11, Stephanie Dolson with 9, Cloud and Lotta with 8 each, Tia Ruffin-Pratt with 6, Tiana Hawkins with 5, Kia Vaughn with 3, Allie Mullet held scoreless tonight, and Jamie Weisner, DNP, and Kalia Copper inactive and is not with the team right now due to undisclosed reasons. For the Dallas Wings tonight, Ariel Power, 17 points. Glory Johnson, her first game back after her off-season pregnancy plus the 7-game suspension she had to serve for the off-the-court incident with Phoenix Mercury star Brittany Griner, 15 points in her first game back in 26 minutes played. Karima Christmas with 13, Jordan Hooper with 10, Courtney Paris with 9, Planette Pearson and Odyssey Sims all with 5 each, Aaron Phillips with 3, Ruth Hamblin with 2, Brianna Kessel held scoreless. Skylar Diggins and Teresa Poncianis both not in the lineup today. Of course, Diggins still working her way back from her ACL injury, still unknown about her full return back to the Wings lineup for Sky Dig at this point, but hopefully it will be sometime soon for those fans down there in Dallas, sometime very soon for the Wings and their fan base. Hopefully for Sky Dig soon. The arena stats to know, folks. Of course, the gameplay night from the College Park Center on the campus of the University of Texas at Arlington this evening as well. And the attendance tonight, 4,177. Time of the game, 2 hours and 6 minutes. The officials today were Eric Bruton, Tiffany Bird, and Jeff Wooten again. And as we had alluded to already, Kalia Copper, the only player inactive this evening. 4 technical fouls dished out in the game today by the officiating crew, 1 for Washington, and 3 of them to the Dallas Wings, including 2 on head coach Fred Williamson, resulting in our first ejection of the 2016 season. 8 times the lead change, than 4 times the teams were tied in today's game. So, Shorty, obviously things got a little bit hairy, I'd say, towards the end of this game tonight, of course, between these two teams. But again, as we had kind of talked about, Shorty, with you, me, and Marquez before we came on air in regards to that, again, here's Washington winning again on the road. Again, this is their 4th win of the year, and all 4 wins, folks, have been by virtue of a away victory. So, Shorty, there's definitely something different or a disconnect between playing at Verizon Center and somebody else's venue. And again, Emma Meesman had a great game, 23 points and 31 and a quarter minutes played, 10 of 13 from the field, 76.9% from the field for Emma Meesman today, and was 3 of 4 from the free throw line at 75%, was a +1 efficiency. Also grabbed 12 boards in the process and dished out a dime as well. So Shorty, obviously, it's Misamin carrying the load, but again, I think more so this is about Washington. I said this, I think, last night on the show with Crystal and yourself as well. Was I think that everyone but Crystal, sadly, had picked the Mystics to win this game last night because of how they've played on the road so far through with their first 3 wins being on the road. And again, Shorty, as much as they say as much as everyone says in sports that winning on the road is so tough. Well, the Mystics, spite of them having 6 losses at least for now, all at home. They do something right, and that's winning their games on the road. So, Shorty, what are your thoughts about tonight's game for the Mystics winning their 4th game of the season, also their 4th game away from Verizon Center as well?
I mean, it is pretty interesting for them to have, all their wins on the road, away from their home. I assume that the Verizon Center must have the Zika virus or something going on down there because they are only effective on the road. But I just think that Coach Tebow did a good job scouting the Dallas Wings for this game. As we all know, the Dallas Wings are a team that like to get into transition, but early it started the first quarter. They couldn't really get into transition with players, especially like Emma Misaman, who hit her first 4 shots, scored 8 points, in the first quarter. So with them setting the tone and hitting their shots, it was hard for the Dallas Wings to get into, transition. But, earlier on in the first half, it was pretty much even, for both teams. Washington only led by 3 at the half, but then, in the second half, start a third quarter, just Washington just carried it away. They blew open, a big lead. And Dallas, can sustain, and then it didn't help, in like the last 3 minutes of the third quarter, it was a bad, call on Aerial Powers, which should have been, just a block, but it ended up being a foul on her, and it caused, Fred Williams to go haywire, and he ended up getting kicked out of the game. And because of that, they just lost all hope. The Wings just pretty much gave up, and Washington took control from there, and ultimately, won the game.
A couple things, guys, real quick. First, we want to get to 2 points quickly from Todd Mintz, who says to Shorty and Marquez, welcome back to the crew. Glad to have you guys back is one deal. And also, he also says Dallas fans talk big about how they would support the Wings. It has gotten to the point now, guys, where they have tarped off the upper level, only 4,200 people. Hopefully when LA comes, a larger crowd is what he's hoping for. And also, Marquez, I want to give a correction and a apology to you for Teresa Plaisance getting her name a little bit thrown into the blender a little bit. But, hey, it happens all the time when I'm doing other sporting events too. But, again, Marquez, this is something I think, though, in regards to Dallas that, it started off promising like we kind of talked about already. But, again, still nothing in regards to a full notice or a full media disclosure as to how long they are going to sit out Skylar Diggins. Again, Diggins has not fully played in any game, at least as of yet, due to the ACL recovery. So Marquez, as you kind of think about this for Dallas, or actually as we do get your thoughts, on the game, but also should it be a little bit alarming though too for the fact that Diggins has not played in a game as of yet?
Yeah, I mean, I think she played in the home opener a little bit, but you can still tell that she was still a little bit off in terms of timing and cutting, and she couldn't do certain lateral movements. But I don't think she's quite there yet in terms of playing time, because I mean, you can't. That's something you just really can't rush back. And I know they're saying that she's not gonna step foot on the court until she's 100%. But I mean, you kind of need to know when she's going to get there, because they're a completely different team without her. And just watching them, you can tell they're completely different.
Yeah, there's something there. Sorry, folks, if you heard my watch going off, I had a phone call come in, but from one of my coworkers with the soccer team I work for, so I had to just put it on mute very, very quickly. But again, Crystal, in regards for the whole game again, and Todd even brought this up just recently as well in the chat box, and I just missed over it in regards to how they played better away from home as they, playing better on the road, saying they probably bond better as a team away from Verizon Center as opposed to playing at home. So, Crystal, it's probably one factor, though, too, about how they played so well away from home in regards to that, you seem to gel and get to know your teammates a lot better when you play away from your home building and you're not, stuck in the city or whatnot. But Crystal, what do you think, though, have you seen differently from Washington on the road as opposed to those home games at Verizon Center where they've won all 4 games this year away from their home building? Okay. Crystal, you have no audio on your side of the story, so we'll come back to you as soon as you can get that problem resolved. But Shorty, as we now go to Dallas, okay, let's start, Shorty, with the big talking point for the Wings today. Glory Johnson, first game back, following the pregnancy, following the off-court incident, the off-court nonsense and snafu, plus the 7-game suspension. Okay, I think for the 26 minutes she played, Shorty, she's probably, I'd say, at 85 or 90%. I mean, it's still going to take her time to get back into full game shape, of course. Did, though, kind of lose her emotions a little bit when she got teed up in the contest. Also took a flagrant as well in the game. So, Shorty, probably if you were to give a report card out for a game 1, what would you give Glory Johnson grade-wise for her first game back after, what's been a pretty, a pretty rough offseason and 7-game suspension for Glory?
I would give Glory Johnson a B. Yes, just a solid B. I mean, she did good. I mean, no one was expecting her to, come out, and come back in her first game and just shoot the lights out. But hey, she scored 15 points, 5 rebounds on 40% shooting from the field. So, that is a decent stat line for someone who is just coming back, in their first game. So I would give her a solid B.
So, Marquez, Shorty's going to go solid B for Glojo's first game back. How about you?
Yeah, I'd agree. She did some really nice things. She was running up and down really well, but you can tell at some points she was getting a little bit tired. But, I mean, what can you expect? She hadn't played since like 2014. But she rebounded well. She was really active and everywhere. I was really impressed with what she did, though, considering it's been such a long while since she's played.
First of all, Crystal, say something first. I know you can hear us, but say something first.
Something first.
Okay, that works. Okay, let's go back to my first point, Crystal. We'll play a 2-man game right now and run up a shot clock for a bit between us two. First of all, let's go back to the first point I brought up about what have you seen differently so far in games you've seen in regards to for the Mystics playing at home as opposed to them playing on the road, because Todd Mintz, I think, had a good point about them, perhaps bonding and gelling and having better chemistry away from home than they probably do when they do play at home. But what do you think, though, about those 4 wins for the Sticks, again, all on the road?
Well, first, I want to apologize for being late. Sorry about that. I had auntie duties. Second, to answer your question, a lot of teams, honestly, when it comes to road trips, I think a lot of teams just, they just get to hang out a little bit more. They get to bond more, with the traveling and with the hotel accommodations. So maybe it's something where they feel comfortable, but they are going to have to start winning at home if they plan on making a playoff run, because you can't, it's good that they can win on the road, but if you can't win at your own stadium, then that's a really big issue. You're going to have to start winning games, or if you want home court advantage. I mean, you can't lose those games and expect to get home court advantage. So over time, they're going to have to start winning their games if they really want to make an impact if they play on their home floor. I mean, if you end up playing in the playoffs, if they make it to the playoffs and they can't win on their home floor, that's going to be a really big issue for them.
And Crystal, to get to my second question, give us your grade for Glory Johnson's first game back since 2014.
I'll give her a B as well. She played very well. I was actually expecting her to play that well. I mean, I saw how she was doing in preseason. I mean, you really can't judge anyone based off of preseason because that season doesn't really technically count. But I knew she was ready. I kind of figured she'd be ready. She like Marquez said, she hasn't played since 2014, and she was ready. She was just happy all this drama was over with. She was ready to get out there, and she played well. And she's looking like she's in her old form with the technical foul and the flagrant foul. So Glory Johnson's definitely back to her old self.
So we're all going to give Glory Johnson the grade of her middle name. We're all going with B for Glory Johnson's first game back, including Todd as well, giving her a B for her first game back as well. So Shorty, let's for a few moments talk about the three people wearing gray and orange sleeved jerseys today. That'd be the officiating crew, who basically did their best Joey Crawford impersonation of "you get a tech, you get a tech." Everybody gets a tech. 4 techs issued in the game tonight, Shorty. 1 on Washington, 3 of them on the wings, 1 for Glojo, and 2 on Fred Williams, who also got the HEFO, our first ejection of the year for 2016. So, Shorty, obviously, in a game that had 8 lead changes and 4 different tie scenarios, I don't want to say that the referees spoiled a good game, but they certainly, had their, sadly, put themselves in the spotlight tonight again with dishing out 4 different techs in the game tonight. Shorty, how about your reaction to those 4 techs issued in the game this evening?
I mean, normally, people would, feel that, yeah, the refs sort of ruined the game or whatever the case may be, or those texts were needed. But I was completely fine with the texts that were given out because they basically made sense. I mean, of course, in the third quarter, the Wings were losing, but still, and even though that was somewhat of a bad call, on Aerial Powers, that still, doesn't give the right, or at least it didn't give the right, for Fred Williams to go off the way he did. And I know some coaches do that to fire up their team in a way, but that definitely didn't add fuel to the fire at all he did was just make things worse, and it took him off the floor, and basically it took the team out of it. So that definitely wasn't a good decision. And then also Glory, I mean, she was just complaining to the refs so much. I mean, at one point, Brigitte Pettis had to push her and Aerial Powers out of the ref's face because, I mean, just all that yapping. I mean, even if you don't agree with the call, just take it for what it is and move on. But she just continued to, get in the ref's face, and that wasn't needed either. So I definitely agree with the text that were given out in tonight's game.
So again, Marquez, 4 combined technical fouls in the game, our first ejection of the year of a player or coach this season, of course. And again, in a game that had 8 lead changes and 4 different times being tied, I think the Techs kind of took away from the game a little bit, but they were all pretty well-deserved in my mind. Again, like Shorty said about Glory Johnson and Aerial Powers, both going after the referees, and then Fred Williams, of course. I mean, and I kind of thought that the officiating crew in last night's Mercury Lynx game should have issued a tech for Sandy Brondello for coming, a good 20 feet onto the floor while play was still in progress to dispute a call there. So I think that was another missed call from a missed call from last night. But Marquez, do you agree though with those 4 technical fouls issued in the game by the officiating crew this evening in this game?
Oh yeah, I didn't mind them either because, like Shorty said, it was a bunch of yapping and bumping of the gums by Dallas. Like every time something was going on, they'd be bumping and grumping and getting all angry and huffy. And I mean, at one point it was a little bit excessive because I mean, players had to get pulled from the official spaces, and it was too much. I mean, at some points, even the announcers had said that you've got to stop looking for the calls all the time, and it is what it is. I mean, once you get the call, there's nothing you can do about it to change it, so just go on with it. But yeah, I agree with the calls. I didn't exactly like the block called on Powers though. I felt like that was wrong, but everything else, it was fine.
And Crystal, I think that you and I can vouch for this, though, as one-time or former athletes, is in a situation like that, you can't let your emotions get the best of you and let them take over, and it takes you off your game, or in this case, you face discipline, either the technical foul, or in Fred Williams' case, you get the boot and you're ejected from the game. Crystal, what are your thoughts, though, again, about 4 techs issued in the game by the 3 officials in tonight's game? Again, they were all pretty well-deserved, but what do you think, though?
I mean, they were well-deserved, but can you guys hear me? I feel like I'm good. Okay. I think they were well-deserved, but, I've had a moment. I've kicked a chair in the middle of a game. It's something that I'm not proud of, but it happened. some kind of way I didn't get ejected, so I must have the gift of the gab in that aspect. But it was deserved. I mean, that you just can't, in the word of uh, Marquez, you can't bump the gums, as he said. So, I mean, they were well deserved. I mean, there's certain things that you just can't say to a ref. Even if you truly, really didn't feel like you fouled somebody, you have to, refs are sensitive. You got to treat them like, like a spouse. You got to gently go up to them and be like, hey, I didn't mean to do it. Can you help me and explain to me what I did? You can't go over there like a crazy ex-boyfriend or girlfriend and you start yelling at them, because then it's never gonna work out in your favor. I mean, most of the time the refs aren't gonna change the call either way, so you kind of just have to deal with it. You kind of just have to go along with it, and you can't just, as he said, bump the gums towards refs, because
and get happy.
exactly. I mean, that's a battle you're never gonna win. So they were very well deserved. I can't really be too mad at Fred Williams though, because that was a pretty bad call. I probably would have done the same thing as a coach, but you know what? There is a time and a place. Cheryl Reeves, it helped her team turn. It helped them turn up the pressure when she threw her jacket off. But in this case, it was bad timing, and he probably should have just have let it go. But I'm not mad at him, no, but at the same time, he hurt his team at that aspect because they kind of just got out of it. But those techs were pretty well deserved.
So you have Crystal kicking a chair, and then you had me twice in high school dent a water cooler when I was upset about a call or what have you. So we'll probably run a poll about who did it better, Crystal kicking the chair or me denting the water cooler when I was playing high school baseball. But again, folks, in spite of the 4 texts, Mystics get the win, more importantly, over the Wings, 87-79, a final score from the College Park Center in Arlington today. The records for these two clubs now with the win and loss. For the Mystics now with the win, 4-6 on the year. 4 of their 6 wins by virtue of a away victory. And again, they are scuffling at home, 0-4 still. The Wings with the loss now falter to 3-5, just 1-3 at home now, and now 5 games back of the top spot in the non-existent, no value-added Western Conference. The Mystics now 4-6, 3 games back of the top spot of the no value-added and non-existent Eastern Conference now in the WNBA. Guys, some injury news today, some sad news too to report about this. But Benijah Laney from the Chicago Sky, done for the year, ripped an ACL just recently from Chicago Sky, done for the season. So Shorty, 2 players now on the shelf with ACL injuries this year, both Maggie Lucas of Indiana, now Laney for Chicago. Shorty, final thoughts about this story that broke this morning, and what does this mean now for Chicago losing Laney for the remainder of the year?
I mean, it's pretty sad. This season, she, was going to continue the development, to grow, within Chapman's system. But unfortunately for her season is done. So hopefully, she'll rehab, good, and she'll come back next season. But as for the Sky, because she had a minor role, it won't, affect them much. But for a team, it's always sad when you miss a player, whether they have a starter role or just a minor bench role. So it will be sad for the Chicago Sky, but hopefully she'll come back next season, better and healthy as well.
So again, Marquez, it's Benijah Laney, done for the year with the Chicago Sky, again ripped an ACL, reported and confirmed by the Sky earlier this morning. Marquez, how about your final thoughts about this injury and what does it mean and what it means for Chicago's long-term future?
Yeah, it's sad. I know Lainey had a really good overseas season, and I'm sure she was hoping to carry that over to this season. But like Shorty said, her role on the team wasn't exactly a starter. She wasn't getting big minutes. So, I mean, I feel like they'd be okay without her, but it's still sad to see.
Yeah, Crystal, it's unfortunate anytime you see any player, starter, non-starter, role player, player you like, player you hate that gets injured, because, I mean, injuries, are something that, it's not, that you don't want to see happen, of course. But Crystal, final take, though, about Benijah Laney, again, ripped ACL and done for the season for Chicago.
Sorry. That actually is a really terrible situation. I mean, you don't want to see anyone get hurt, especially for the season, especially when it's an ACL. I mean, those Those take a long time to heal. Hopefully, by next year she'll be better. And she was just improving too, which always sucks to when it happens to a player that's improving so much. And you hate to see those kind of injuries. And hopefully she'll be back and healthy next year for Chicago.
So again, folks, to recap the big news again, Benijah Laney from Chicago Sky again done for the season, torn ACL, the second ACL injury sustained by somebody this year. The first one, of course, was Maggie Lucas roughly 2 to 3 weeks ago when she suffered that injury, non-contact with the fever early in the season. Guys, only one game again on the WNBA schedule tomorrow for Thursday night, and it is another 20th season celebration game. The former Utah, now San Antonio Stars will take on the Phoenix Mercury tomorrow from Talking Stick Resort Arena in downtown Phoenix, Arizona. And no, folks, I will not be there tomorrow. I've got too much going on back home, just in case anyone out there is curious. The game can be seen on all three networks on WNBA League Pass. For our friends in the Phoenix area on Fox Sports Arizona, with the Diamondbacks being off tomorrow, catch the game on Fox Sports Arizona regular. And for our friends in San Antonio, catch the game on Fox Sports Southwest. So, Shorty, I don't know here. I mean, you have San Antonio, of course, who, they seem to have played a little bit better lately. And then, of course, there is that, the Rocky, the Rocky horror motion picture show that is the Phoenix Mercury, 2-6 on the season. In a predicament that nobody really saw them being stuck in this season. So, Shorty, pretty much this is almost anybody's game, I think, in regards to how poorly and how bad, not just the Stars, but how bad Phoenix has played this entire season so far. So, Shorty, what are your thoughts, though, about tomorrow's game in Phoenix?
I ultimately have the Mercury, using this as a bounce back game to win. I'm sorry, Marquez. But, I mean, hey, the Mercury have been inconsistent. Like I said, they're the worst defensive team in the league. So they're not going to stop anybody. But unfortunately, I don't think the San Antonio Stars can put together enough offense collectively to take over the game. I mean, in some spurts, it's like for San Antonio, Mojeff goes off, and then in another game, K-Mac goes off, and then maybe Curry will add some points here and there. But I just don't think SA has enough offense to win this game. So I'm ultimately going with the Mercury.
Marquez, I don't think either of these teams right now are really fine-tuned, well-oiled machines. They're more so just teams, it's kind of, obviously they're struggling as well. But again, it's a game, though, that, something has got to give in regards to how poorly both these clubs have played. They're both on the bottom part of the no-value-added, non-existent Western Conference right now, both of them, with a couple wins apiece so far. And, of course, Phoenix the bigger story because we really did not think or see them being in this predicament so far. So, Marquez, what is your overall thought and your preview for this match between the Stars and Mercury tomorrow from TSRA?
You know what? This is where the drama is going to start tonight because, Shorty, you've got it all wrong. This game, we're going to string it together. Everyone is going to have a good game. We're going to have Mojeff go for like 16, Kayla 25. I'm predicting it now. We're going to win. But no. But seriously, though, I feel like with Phoenix, what concerns me about this game most is the matchup problems they face. Because, I mean, we're going to have Mojeff guarding Diana, and I can see them to get Diana going instead of having her launching from the perimeter. I think they're going to have a couple post-up situations with her. And I think Brittany can really assert herself this game because I'm not sure if our posts are going to be able to defend her as well as other teams have. But, yeah, I think... And like Shorty said, I don't think there's going to be enough offense, even though I'm hoping there will be. But if this game goes as the other ones have, usually one person has a good game and everyone else is just off, and you can't compete that way. So I think the key for San Antonio is going to be having everyone, or at least 3 people, have a pretty good solid game and just containing what Phoenix is going to try to do. But I don't know if that's going to happen, though.
And Crystal, I mean, we've kind of seen a slow death for both these teams. More so, though, a slow death for Phoenix in regards of how they have, really have, scuffled and, and have just had, no luck, or they've ran out of luck, or they just, don't bother to show up, or they go through the motions or play half-hearted basketball. I mean, yeah, we saw some steady improvement, I think, though, last night when they played Minnesota, but ultimately, didn't slam the door shut, and they lost that game again by 8 points. But, Crystal, now that they have San Antonio coming in, now, again, this is not a walkover for either of these two clubs, with them both playing this poorly. But, Crystal, what are your thoughts and your preview for this game between the Stars and Mercury tomorrow?
You're right. It's not a walkover, but for Marquez's sake, I hope the game is a lot closer so he can feel the pain we felt when we played. Who was that when we played? When we played San Antonio. But I don't know. I mean, both of these teams really aren't doing that well, and it's going to take a lot more than just Kayla McBride and Mo Jeff. I mean, they're going to have, as Shorty put it, some points. I heard that little shade. She said everyone's going to go off, and it said Curry was going to get some points. I heard that, but
Hey,
they're going to need.
you already know.
They're going to need production from, their bench as well. I mean, me and Marquez actually talked about this. They don't really play their bench that much as far as San Antonio goes. Excuse me. Yeah, they really don't play their bench that much, and I think playing their bench could actually help them as far as this game. And as for Phoenix, they have the upper advantage when it comes to size. So for them, they're going to have to find out how to use their size as much as they can. I feel like if they can get in there and figure out how to get in the post more and use their size to their advantage, this won't be an easy win for San Antonio. But as Shorty also said, Phoenix has the I can't play defense syndrome. So if they don't know how to get in front of people and stop the ball, then this is not going to be a good game for them. So offensively, they can score with the best of them. Defensively, they just got to get better and not try to block everything they see and move their feet and not make it so easy for San Antonio.
Not only do they have the I can't play defense syndrome, Chris, they also have foul poisoning too. If they are in foul trouble all night, it's going to be a long night at the TSRA for the Mercury tomorrow. So now we'll go around the perimeter. Shorty, before we get to predictions, guys, of course, this is the other 20th season celebration legacy game, you can say, as both these clubs, at least the Mercury, will celebrate, officially celebrate their 20th season tomorrow. Of course, the Stars were in Utah for the first few years, then they, of course, were relocated to San Antonio, became the Silver Stars, and they're now just the Stars under the Spurs umbrella. So, again, Shorty, we kind of talked about this, about the Liberty and Sparks, of course, playing their legacy game tomorrow night. So, Shorty, this technically is a 20th season game for both these clubs in some capacity, with, the Utah / San Antonio / San Antonio Silver / San Antonio Stars franchise, of course, against the Phoenix Mercury, who've been here since day one. So, Shorty, now that we saw one legacy game, what does this matchup, I guess, mean to you, again, that we're going to have, technically the other two teams that kicked off the WNBA from 97 also playing tomorrow night as a part of Celebration Week this week in June?
I mean, I think it's going to be good for what it represents. It represents, stability within those two franchises, and, just them, being able to, stick around. As we all know, a lot of franchises have folded, in the league. I think a total of 9 franchises have folded, with 3 being relocated. The Stars being one of those teams. So, it's just, good to have, those remaining teams around in the league.
Now, Marquez, we sadly cannot get your take or your thoughts about, this pretty historic week for the WNBA. Again, they have 3 of the 4, and now technically the 4 teams that, were here, the cornerstone franchises of this league, of course, kicking off their seasons. Back in 97, of course, we had the Liberty and Sparks play, of course, last night, a 23-point LA win. LA also finally got 2 banners instead of just 1 banner, of course, for their back-to-back titles as well at Staples Center, also now up there in the Raptors. Then, of course, tomorrow will be the Stars and Mercury also doing their 20th season celebration. Marquez, in your mind, how special is it, though, that the WNBA for their 20th season did schedule Liberty, Sparks, and then Stars Mercury as the 4 teams that were and still are here from day one playing each other during, the league's unofficial celebration week?
Yeah, I really like that because, I mean, it is historic. I mean, I remember during the LA New York game, they played the first basket made in the WNBA, and that was really cool to see. But of course, even though Utah moved to San Antonio, I mean, I feel like though that it really San Antonio really embraced the team as a whole, and it's done really well since moving. I mean, they had the finals appearance. They've had so many great moments in San Antonio. Unfortunately, it's not the same way now, but I mean, we'll get there. But it's really cool to see.
You know, and Crystal, the Mercury are going to be giving away Cheryl Miller bobbleheads to the first X amount of people. Yes, I said, folks, X amount of people going to the game tomorrow at TSRA. And you know, I think that's something though that's pretty special. Of course, the Sparks brought back, of course, between Penny Toller and Tamika Dixon from those 01, you know, from the early 90s, of course, and then of course John B playing halftime as well at Staples, and then of course the Mercury will have Cheryl Miller bobbleheads. Of course, Coach Miller, I believe, is going to be in attendance at the game tomorrow. But again, Crystal, to have all four of the original franchises playing, playing somebody from '97 or who they played for the past 20 years during the same week, of course, I thought was very special. But what does it mean in your mind in seeing these four clubs playing each other again for the 20th straight season?
I mean, it's cool. I mean, it makes me feel kind of old, but not really at the same time. It made me feel old yesterday, seeing Tamika Dixon and John B out there. I felt like I was in the 90s for real. I was like, what's going on? I think it's cool. It just lets you know that, like I said, hopefully this league is here to stay for 20 more years. And, the league's come a long way from everybody having the same looking colored jerseys to where they are now. I think it's amazing. A lot of the players feel old because you grew up watching them, and then now they're on their way out, and there's a new generation of players coming in, and then soon there'll be hopefully a new generation of players coming in. So it's just awesome to see how far this league has gotten, and I hope the league continues to grow because it's a really great league. People just have to give it a chance to realize that. But I mean, it's amazing that they're. I don't know if this is on purpose or not, but it's amazing that they are able to play in the same week.
It may be on purpose because they didn't take my request of having the Liberty and Sparks play on June 21st to celebrate the actual 20th season celebration, so they kind of made it up to me in some capacity with Liberty Sparks playing last time, then the Stars and Mercury playing each other tomorrow. Of course, that is the only game on your WNBA schedule, so again, folks, only one game again on your WNBA schedule tomorrow. So now we'll go around the perimeter again and get everyone's predictions for you out of the night. Shorty, who you got, the Stars or the Mercury tomorrow?
Mercury.
One vote for PHX. Marquez, who you got?
Okay, unfortunately, the Mercury.
I like that. Well, unfortunately, the Mercury. Crystal, how about you?
Poor Marquez. I'm going with Phoenix, but you know what? These teams have been playing so bad that I would not be surprised if Seattle just said, give me that, and took the game from them. So I'm going to go with Phoenix, but I'm going to have a question mark at the end.
Crystal, just so you know, it's Phoenix over the Stars, not Phoenix over Seattle. You're getting a little bit ahead of yourself right there. In case anyone's wondering, give me the X. Let's go. I'm taking the X again, folks. I mean, come on now. I mean, at this point, from what's already happened last Sunday with seeing their first win, sadly, this isn't tic-tac-toe like it was my Twitter Abby a few days ago, but all four of us will pick the X for Phoenix winning tomorrow's game over San Antonio. But Crystal put a question mark there, so it's an X and then a question mark for at least one of our panel members again. But Shorty, Crystal, Marquez, and myself all going with the Merc over the Stars tomorrow in your only game of WNBA hoops for tomorrow. With that, though, folks, we thank you guys for dropping by and hanging with us as we got our whole crew back, at least four of us back. Hopefully we'll have Eric and Reagan back on sometime soon, we hope, but of course they're still very, very booked and slammed, of course, with either Eric writing for today's Fast Break or Reagan just getting a new job a couple days ago, so they're both going to be back hopefully sometime very soon. With that, though, folks, for Crystal Thomas and Tanisha Stewart, both up in Los Angeles, and for our good buddy Marquez Anderson from the Project Spurs Network, this is Cal McClurg signing off from Studio 171 in San Diego. Hopefully, folks, enjoyed the night show in tonight's game. We'll see you folks back here tomorrow, same bat time, same bat channel, same bat people, back with you folks following the Stars and Mercury game. That's a 10 o'clock Eastern tip, 7 o'clock Pacific on WNBA League Pass, Fox Sports Arizona, or Fox Sports Southwest. So, folks, good night and bye-bye.